Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So according to the Manchester Evening News, Manchester United have approached Mauricio Pottectinho over becoming the club's next manager. Now, as you all know, Mauricio Pottectinho was on Monday Night Football and he said that he misses football and he's ready to return to management. Now, Mauricio Pottectinho has been managerless now for like a year. He got sacked from Tottenham last year, and to be honest with you, I think Tottenham made a bad mistake by getting rid of him. Now, Mauricio Pottectinho was linked with a managerial role at Man United before Solsjaer got the job permanently in March 2019. There was obviously talks of Mauricio Pottectinho coming in after Jose Mourinho got sacked. Now, there's been a few clubs that have been in for him before. Obviously, Real Madrid have been in for him. Newcastle at one point were in for him. Barcelona have been in for him. A few weeks ago, he did say that Zenit St. Petersburg were in talks over getting Mauricio Pochettino. Now, I think Pochettino is a much better manager than Solskjaer. Now, main explanations is because Pochettino is well proven in the Premier League. He's also dealt with top players and he has got a good philosophy. Like I've said a lot of times before, my only element of concern about him, he has not won anything in terms of silverware. Mauricio Pochettino did endure 5.5 years with Tottenham. He guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final last year. He also guided them to the League Cup final and he guided them to 2 FA Cup semi-finals. Analysing the vast majority of his tenure, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. Before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton. He endured a very, very short tenure with Southampton. But he did guide Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League era. And before he was at Southampton, he was at Espanyol. If we do appoint Mauricio Pochettino in, he will be our 5th permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. It also mentions that we've been interested in Massimiliano Allegri. I think we're seeing him as an alternative to Pochettino because Pochettino is the favourite to take over. But yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under serious pressure at the football club. Now, James Cooper from Sky Sports News has said that the club are still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer despite our defeat against Istanbul Başakşehir. Now, we've endured a very, very poor start to the season. We've already lost 4 games. 3 of those defeats have come in the Premier League, so we've lost 3 of our first 6 Premier League games, and all them defeats have come at Old Trafford. It's our worst start at Old Trafford in 50 years. So we've not yet won a game at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. We are sitting 15th in the Premier League, so we are near the relegation zone. Now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager for almost 2 years. So he's been with Man United now around 22.5 months. He's been permanent Man United manager for around 19 months. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in a position that he shouldn't be in. But we did make a mistake by giving him the job permanently. the main explanation we give him the job permanently was reflect on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Now, Solsjaer still under contract with the football club until 2022. It would cost the club around £4 million to sack him. And, you know, this is his second season at Manchester United, second full season. And I said to you at the start of this season that Ole has got to exceed his expectations if he's to remain Manchester United manager. I said what would represent a good season for Man United would be a top 4 finish, top 2 or top 3 if necessary, and win a trophy, because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under the Ole Gunnar Solsjaer era, and we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. Now, like I've said to you before, I want his managerial tenure to work out because I love him a lot and he's a club legend and he was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, but, you know, as a manager, I just don't think he's good enough. You know, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Obviously, before he was with us, he was at Mould. He won a few Norwegian titles with Mould. And before then, he was at Cardiff. You know, he enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting them relegated, didn't he? And Ole has managed 101 games for Man United in all competitions. I think his decision making in a lot of his games at Man United have been very, very poor. But not all of the blame stems from Ole. You know, I think there's definitely certain players that have got to take responsibility because, you know, there's been players that have been underperforming. I think the board have got to take a lot of responsibility because they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solsjaer enough in the summer transfer window because we missed out on all of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority targets. But I don't think any of our managers have been backed enough since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Our recruitment policy has been very, very poor for the last 7 years or so. But, you know, Woodward has been at the football club since 2012. So he's been at Man United now over 8 years. And the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. And they've been with us over 15 years now. And they have taken quite a bit of money out of the club. You know, Ole is our 4th permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. 3 managers have been sacked since the Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes. He got sacked after 8.5 or was it 9 months. Under the David Moyes era, we finished 7th. You know, the lowest I think we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years. You know, Louis van Gaal did win the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. So like I've said, you know, we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. But in the last 7 years or so, we haven't only had different managers with different philosophies. We've recruited over 30 players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. And we spent close to the £1 billion range on them. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so that's over 7 years ago now. So that just indicates how inconsistent we've been. And I think we are at least 3 to 4 years off from winning the Premier League title, maybe even longer. You know what I mean? Man United are obviously looking to get a director of football in because I think that's one of the structural changes that we need at the football club. We've been in the process of trying to get a director of football in since like the Jose Mourinho era, haven't we? And Woodward said quite a few times we've been in the process of trying to get one. At one point, there was quite a few former Man United players linked with that role. Paul Mitchell at one point was linked with it. Louis Campos, there was talks of him the other week coming in. He's currently the Lille director. But if we had to get a director of football, and I've said before, we need someone who knows the club inside out and someone who's got that experience, obviously. I think Van der Sar would be a good candidate for it because he's got the experience and he's a former Manchester United, keeper, isn't he? Like I've said to you so many times before, there's not all negativity regarding Solsjaer Manchester United manager. I've taken a few positives from his managerial career at Man United. Like I said, I like the way he's promoted the youth. We've also had some good periods under him. Before the Arsenal game, we was unbeaten in our last 4 games in all competitions. We enjoyed a fantastic start to our Champions League campaign before we lost to Istanbul Başakşehir because we beaten PSG and we beaten RB Leipzig. Obviously, was it the second part of last season? Went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. It was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. 2 Palace beaters on the opening day this season. And Solskjaer, didn't he win his first 89 games when he was temporary boss? And I also credit him for what he did last season. Because last season, Ollie got us 3rd, second highest we've finished since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. He also guided us to 3 semi-finals and he got us qualification for the Champions League. And I think he's also made some good signings since he got appointed in as Man United manager. Ollie's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the club and he's spent over £200 million. He's brought around 10 senior players in, brought a few academy players in as well. We've seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. We've seen players like Lukaku, Herrera leave. They were 2 players that I think Manchester United should have kept. We also saw Fellaini leave in January 2019. We saw the likes of Darmian leave the club. Where we saw Smalling leave the club on deadline day. He went to Roma. Smalling enjoyed a good 10 years at Man United. We saw Diego Dalot go out on loan to AC Milan. Last time I read about that, AC Milan were interested in getting him permanently. We also seen Andres Pereira go on a 1-season loan with Lazio. Obviously, Tahith Chong, he went out on loan to Werder Bremen. I think we also loaned Dylan Levitt out. We loaned Joe Pereira, I think, again for another season. Alexis Sanchez, he joined Inter Milan permanently. The club made the right decision by getting rid of Sanchez because it has freed up our wage bill because Sanchez's wages at Manchester United, were having a bad effect on the club. Obviously, Valencia left as well in the summer of 2019 after he enjoyed 10 years at Man United. Young, he left back in January, and Ashley Young enjoyed 8.5 years at the football club. So yeah, we've seen a lot of players leave under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And I think Ole has showed a lot of tactical flexibility in the big games. Like I said, he's beaten Julian Nagelsmann. He's beaten Thomas Tuchel. Last season Solskjaer beat Pep Guardiola 3 times. He also beat Frank Lampard 3 times. And he's beaten Jose Mourinho once as Manchester United manager. So they are the positives that you can take. We've had some big wins under Ole. Obviously, we had the 6-0 win against Tranmere last season in the FA Cup. We also had the 5-0 win against Lask and Club Brugge. We had, obviously, the 4-0 win against Chelsea on the opening day of last season. We also had the 4-1 win against Newcastle. We had the 5-1 win against Cardiff. That was Ollie's first game as Manchester United manager. Recently beat RB Leipzig by 5-0. I think the worst defeats we've obviously had under Ollie was the 6-1 loss to Tottenham. That was the first time we'd lost 6-1 at Old Trafford since City beat us 6-1 back in 2011. We also had the 4-0 defeat to Everton back in April 2019. We had the 3-1 loss to Palace on the opening day of the season. Uh, 3-0 loss to Barcelona last season. So, there you go. There you go. But I just think it's going to be hard for any manager at Manchester United or any manager in general to last as long as Ferguson did or to replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, Ferguson endured 27 years at Man United and he won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles. As you all know, we are the most successful team in Premier League history, but Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years and he was very, very close to getting sacked. Good job he didn't, because we wouldn't have had any success at all. But like I said, it takes some time for managers to settle in. You know, Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool and that. But, you know, I think Ole has had long enough now. I really, really do. Now, we're obviously making plans for next year, because next year we're looking to make a couple of more signings. We'll be looking to offload more players next year, because obviously there's still deadwood in the squad. Next year, I think we'll be looking to get rid of the likes of Jesse Lingard. We'll be looking to get rid of Rojo. We'll be looking to get rid of Phil Jones. Sergio Romero, he'll leave. He wants his contract terminated anyway. We could loan Daniel James out next year. Could Brandon Williams go out on loan? Because since the arrival of Tellez, he's found game time hard. And it'd be beneficial to put him out on loan, Williams, so he can gain more experience. I'm expecting Paul Pogba to leave the football club next year. Matic could possibly leave, and so too could Juan Mata. So there you go. Everton at the weekend, Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. I gave you my preview on my last video. I think we lose this game to Everton. It's very likely Ole Gunnar Solsjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager. Now, Everton are sitting 4th in the Premier League. They have lost their last 2 league games though. They lost to Newcastle and they also lost to Southampton. Everton have won 4 games in the league this season. They've beaten Tottenham, Crystal Palace, West Brom and Brighton, didn't they? And we've lost quite a few times at Goodison Park in recent years. You know, we lost there 4-0 in April 2019. We lost there 3-0 under the Louis van Gaal era. We lost there 2-0 under the David Moyes era. So there you go. Everton's manager is Carlo Ancelotti. Very, very good manager with a proven pedigree. Ancelotti has won around 15 major honours in his managerial career so far. When Everton appointed Carlo Ancelotti in, I think he signed a 4.5-year deal with them. He's been Everton manager now for almost a year. Before Everton had Ancelotti, they obviously had Duncan Ferguson on a temporary basis. Before they had Duncan Ferguson, they had Marco Silva. They was very inconsistent under him. At one point, they had Roberto Martinez. I thought they was very, very consistent under Roberto Martinez. And they did have David Moyes, don't forget. David Moyes endured around 10 or 11 years with Everton. Everton was the only club that David Moyes did well at, isn't it? Everton, like I said to you on the preview, made some very, very good signings in the summer transfer window. Obviously, they brought James Rodriguez in, who's made an impact for them so far. I think he's recently had an injury. They also brought Decore in. They brought Allen in from Napoli. They brought Ben Godfrey in. I think he's out of injury at the moment. They also brought Olsen in on loan. And I think they brought another player in, did Everton. You know, they've got good players in their team. You know, I think the player we need to watch out for is Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because he can cause problems. Richarlison's good, but he's not going to be available for Everton on Saturday because he's suspended. They've obviously, you know, got the likes of Bernard. They've got Alex Iwobi in their team. They've obviously got Sigurdsson. Sigurdsson, when he was at Swansea, had a good goal-scoring record against us, didn't he? Don't forget. They've obviously got Andrea Gomez. He's been out of injury recently. I think he's going to be available for Saturday for Everton. They've got that Lucas Digne, who is a very, very good left-back for them. They've got Michael Keane, former Manchester United player, one of their centre-halves. They've obviously got Yerry Mina. Jordan Pickford's their goalkeeper. I don't think he's done that well recently, Jordan Pickford. I think he did very, very well, though, in the World Cup for England in 2018. Everton have let quite a few players go, though. Obviously, you know, they let Theo Walcott go out on loan to Southampton. They let Idrissa Gueye go, don't forget, to PSG. Idrissa Gueye was very, very good at Everton. Very, very good at breaking up the play. They also let Moise Keane go out on loan to PSG. Lukaku left them in 2017 because obviously he came to Manchester United, didn't he? And like I said on the preview earlier on, I think Ole will be making changes from the 2-1 loss against Istanbul Başakşehir. You know, we have lost our last 2 games in all competitions. You know, Istanbul Başakşehir beat us 2-1. That was an absolute embarrassment. You know, that was our first defeat in the Champions League group stage, and it was Istanbul Başakşehir's first ever win in the Champions League, because this is their first time in the Champions League. And they were formed in 1990, weren't they? And obviously, you know, we lost to Arsenal in our last league game, and that was Arsenal's first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League since 2006. So that's around 14 years ago now. Ollie will be doing his press conference tomorrow, I presume, building up to the game, and I will be giving you my reaction for that. Probably my starting 11 prediction video will be coming up tomorrow. After Everton, it is the international break, and after the international break, it is West Brom. You know, this is a massive, massive game for Ollie on Saturday. It really, really is. You know, if we win the game, then won't be sacked. It's not guaranteed he will be sacked if we don't beat Everton, but there's a very, very good chance he will be. I was hearing that earlier on today that Ollie's job at Man United could be safe until Christmas. But like I've said to you, there's at Man United, there's no style of play, there's no tactics, there's no philosophy. There's a lot of problems at the football club that need to be justified, really. And we've got some good players in our team. We really, really have. We've got Marcus Rashford, who's good. He hasn't been good though recently, but still overall very, very good play. You've got Martial. He was good last season under Ollie, good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial's enjoyed over 5 years now at the football club. Martial's now available for the Premier League because he's served his 3-match suspension. You've got Mason Greenwood. That's good for us. I know we had a few issues with him at the start of the season and Solsjaer has been defending him in recent weeks. But he's a foreseeable future for Man United. You've got Juan Mata, that's a pretty good player. And most of his games he played in this season, he's done well. But he has now lost that yard of pace as Juan Mata. You've obviously got Bruno Fernandes, one of the best players we've brought in since Ferguson, and probably the best signing we've made under Ollie. Bruno Fernandes was absolutely terrible though against Pottectinho, was dispossessed around 34 times. That is definitely his worst game in a Manchester United shirt. Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a good 9 months at the football club. Donny van der Beek, I think he's a very, very good player. Hasn't been given enough chances yet though. He has started our last 2 Champions League games, but he's not yet made his full Premier League debut as Donny van der Beek. Don't forget he can play in like 3 different roles. Some pundits in that think Donny van der Beek is not wanted at the football club. So we have got good players in our team. I think De Gea has recently rejuvenated himself. Masaka, I think he's very good, but in his last 2 games he's been poor. Luke Shaw is good when he wants to be. There you go. But we've also got poor players. We've also got poor players as well. You've got Paul Pogba, that's poor. Definitely wasn't worth the £89 million that were paid for him. Like I said, I think we'll sell Paul Pogba next year. You've obviously got Lindelof, that's poor. He's nowhere near on Harry Maguire's level. You've got Daniel James, who I think's actually quite poor now. Harry Maguire, he's had a lot of poor games as a Manchester United player. He's not world class. He can be good though when he wants to be Harry Maguire. Don't forget Harry Maguire had early season troubles, didn't he? You've obviously, got Lingard, that's poor, but obviously now he doesn't get in the team. You've got Jones, that's been poor since he came in, but obviously he's out with injury and he's recently had an operation. Rojo, he hasn't really established himself as a first team regular since he came into Man United. You know what I mean? Odi Nagalo, he doesn't get in the team now, does he? We brought Odi Nagalo in on deadline day. The main explanation we brought him in, though, was to get that covered up to Rashford. Igalo will leave the club in January when his loan expires, but he was our top goal scorer in the FA Cup last season. Edison Cavani, he's obviously made 4 substitute appearances. He wasn't good recently, when he came on, Edison Cavani. He was very good, though, when he came on against Chelsea. He almost scored with his first touch. That was his debut for the club. Said Edison Cavani will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic at Man United. That's what I said. Scott McTominay, I think he's had a lot of poor games at the club. He's not world class. He's had some good games as a Man United player, though, McTominay. Fred, not world class. Had bad games at Man United, but I think he's improved under the Ole Gunnar Solsjaer era, to be fair, as Fred. But he was poor against Arsenal, gave the ball away far too many times. Fred didn't play many part against Istanbul Besiktas, did he? So there you go. So these poor players as well. Alex Telles, I think he's going to be a very, very good signing for Man United, to be honest with you. Obviously, he's recently had COVID-19, so he obviously hasn't been able to play. I don't think he's going to be available for Saturday either, Telles. I think he's having another test, and obviously he's got test negative. Telles was very, very good on his debut against PSG, wasn't he? Axel Tuanzebe, he was poor against Istanbul Başakşehir, but against PSG he was very, very good. That was Tuanzebe's first start for Man United in 10 months against PSG. I prefer him though over Victor Lindelof, Axel Tuanzebe, if I'm going to be honest with you. You know the news on Facundo Pellistri. Solsjaer's confirmed his plans for Facundo Pellistri. He said he needs to spend more time in the reserves before making his Premier League debut for Manchester United. He made his debut last month for the under-23s when we played Everton, Facundo Pellistri. Ahmad Traore, he's obviously joining the football club in January, isn't he? So, yeah. So anyway, guys, what do you think to the Pottectinho news and all that? Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.